Now, News 12 has learned that Nassau and State Police will be here at Jones Beach on Monday to once again comb through the sand and brush in hopes of finding Gilbert or whoever else might be out here. We've heard from the district attorney, we've heard from the police commissioner, and they say they're going to charge Officer Kenneth Crockett for stealing from a local bar. Colleen, Jill, President Obama is coming to the scene of Osama bin Laden's biggest crime, ground zero. The White House is welcoming Ireland's request for a massive loan to tackle its debt. That bailout package could top $100 million. On Wall Street, investors remain nervous that Spain and Portugal may also need a bailout. Now, we knew this trade was coming. It's been the talk, like you said, for quite some time. But the Washington Redskins, that's the big shocker. Well, you know, hearing about profits in a bad economy is usually a good thing, but not so much when oil companies are looking at substantial, in some cases, record profits while you pay more at the pump. The mayor says many of these are targeted attacks, which unfortunately means innocent victims like 2-year-old Terrence Webster are often being caught in the crossfire. We're live in Chester. I'm Ty Chandler, Fox 29 News. Good evening. I'm Ty Chandler. Just a little less than 2 months now until voters head to the polls, and young voters may not be a sure thing for Democrats this election season. Lauren, Ron, you know, the body count just keeps on growing. 3 sets of human remains found today in the same area where police already discovered 5 other bodies. From the looks of things, this search is far from over.
Found human remains, 3 human remains so far in the area between Oak Beach and Gilgo Beach.
Commissioner Richard Dormer wouldn't say much more about the discovery. The 7-mile stretch of road that connects Oak and Gilgo beaches is now more of a graveyard where someone has dumped as many as 8 bodies, maybe more.
This roadway westbound from Captree, the causeway, all the way to the Nassau line is going to be closed tonight. It's still a crime scene. Nobody is allowed in there. It's a tough area. It's very easy to miss something, but that's why we're doing it again. We saw the challenges firsthand. The brush along Ocean Parkway is filled with poison ivy and very thick. We lost sight of this canine cadaver dog in a matter of seconds. Suffolk brought in 25 police recruits to help cover more ground. Islip, Babylon, and North Babylon sent in their fire trucks so officers can use the latter to gain a better vantage point. Emergency vehicles move slowly along the road with officers on top peering into the brush. The search efforts began months ago when Shannon Gilbert vanished. The 24-year-old Jersey City prostitute was last seen in May running in panic near Oak Beach. Gilbert, like the first 4 women found, worked as a Craigslist prostitute, leaving investigators to suspect that a serial killer may be behind this. The medical examiner will determine if any of the remains found today are indeed Shannon Gilbert, but detectives remain confident that she is around here somewhere. Family is going to be anxious when they get this information. We haven't given up on the search for Shannon Gilbert, just in case the remains that we discovered today are not hers. And police say they should know quickly whether Shannon Gilbert is among those remains found today, since they already have her DNA. Again, Ocean Parkway will be closed, and residents of this area will have to show their ID and need a police escort to get to their home while this search continues. We're live at Gilgo Beach. I'm Ty Chandler, News 12 Long Island. Ron, back to you.
When I see what I see here, I see pain.
43 4th Street was Donna Soto's address for 16 years. She sold the house that used to stand here just 2 months ago.
I didn't want to move at all because I lived here all my life.
Now no one will call this house their home. Sunday's blast was so strong it destroyed everything, even down to the kitchen sink. Neighbors say the house is being renovated by the new owners, Millennium Homes of Bayshore. But Islip town officials say they have no work permits on file for the property. Millennium did not return our calls. Hello? No comment? You don't want to talk about the house at all? And locked the door as soon as they saw us.
They were fine through the sale and the closing and everything, but I don't know where their heads are at right now.
The explosion damaged nearly a dozen homes, leaving some too dangerous to live in.
I think it's going to have to be bulldozed. The whole left side of it is gone.
This is the back of the house. This is how it get damaged, all the windows, all the inside of the house damaged. And this is where the kids like to play on the basketball court right here.
Carl says he put a lot of work into making sure his backyard was a place where all the neighborhood kids could hang out. And all he can think about is, what if those kids were here when that explosion reduced the home next door to this?
I think you can say thanks God their whole life.
His son's leg was hurt in the blast. 21 people were taken to the hospital. Nothing serious.
Of course, you get past the, oh, thank God we're all alive, and then you look at the breakage in the house, and then you say, oh, my God, panic over the cleanup, and I have to go to work. The real world steps in again.
In Brentwood, Ty Chandler, News 12 Long Island. You know, the last 24 hours has been a roller coaster of emotions for those touched by the September 11th attacks. In spite of all the pain it has brought up, the consensus at tonight's vigil is that the world is now a better place now that Osama bin Laden isn't in it.
He hijacked our religion and he used the name of the Islams and Muslims and everything. So it's a big victory for not only America, it's like whole Muslim world.
And that victory has brought out many mixed emotions for Long Islanders who don't know whether to cheer or cry.
We lost a lot of people. It was just very emotional at that time. And seeing everybody going to funerals for months and months and months.
Ray Pfeiffer is a veteran New York City firefighter. He went to so many funerals. His stack of prayer cards looks more like a deck of cards. He lost 12 from his firehouse alone.
Good guys, family guys, just doing their job, and were murdered by this guy.
Pfeiffer and dozens of others lit candles and reflected on the ones they lost. The small sense of justice they feel knowing bin Laden is gone.
I think it's a good thing.
They were not representing Muslim community. They were killing just innocent people, children's, women's, senior citizens, so everybody. So we feel good that finally he got caught and killed.
And firefighter Ray Pfeiffer says he now has cancer as a result of working at Ground Zero, though he says he's not bitter and he's not complaining.
I've seen a lot of things in my life. You see a little kid like that, it's not something you want to see.
But now that's all Stephen Blas can see when he looks across the street from his Floral Park home. Last night, 9-year-old Andrew Burris took his final breaths here.
He always played. They played baseball and was always riding his bike, and it's just it's hard to get that image out of my head.
Police say a 16-year-old girl getting a driving lesson from her mother in this Nissan SUV made a wide right turn onto Martha Terrace, lost control, slamming into Andrew, who was riding his bike on the sidewalk, and his mom, Kathy, who was walking with him. His mother's injuries were minor, and at first it looked like Andrew would be okay too when he stood up.
He fell back down, and I screamed at everybody, somebody called 911, and I grabbed his hand and try to calm him down and say, just stay with us, buddy.
Police say the teen had her learner's permit for a few weeks. She was driving with her mother, a licensed driver, so it doesn't appear that there were any laws broken, which means this is just a tragic accident.
I would say that inexperience led to contribute to this accident.
It's an accident, which is the scariest part, because it wasn't, it wasn't intentional, but now families are ruined and lives are ruined.
We have had too many tragedies with young people dying in accidents that there seemed to be no explanation for.
They need to make this block a one-way street, and it sucks that maybe something like this is going to make them realize now that that's what they're going to have to do.
In the Floral Park, Ty Chandler, News 12 Long Island. For the first time, the government is allowing doctors to use embryonic stem cells in a medical treatment. The unnamed patient in Atlanta had a recent spinal cord injury. Researchers are hoping the stem cells will travel to the site of the injury and release compounds that will help the damaged nerves in the cord regenerate. The stem cells being used were taken from embryos left over from fertility treatments. And researchers say women can lower their risk of breast cancer even if they have a family history. A new study found exercising regularly, maintaining a healthy weight, and drinking less alcohol help prevent the disease in women with and without a family history. About 15% of all postmenopausal women have a genetic predisposition to breast cancer. And a new study finds autism is more common in children who had jaundice at birth. Jaundice causes a yellowing of the skin in newborns and usually disappears quickly without treatment. Researchers say they don't know how the conditions might be related. It could be that children genetically predisposed to autism might also be vulnerable to jaundice. And those are some of the day's top health stories. I'm Ty Chandler, CBS News, New York.